Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in this week's video we're going to use some of those pieces that we recycled, or we're going to recycle some of those pieces we salvaged from the three plow bottom plow that you saw me dismantle in the last video. What we'll be using today is primarily the hitch parts, the pieces that come up to the top where the third arm of the three-point hitch on the tractor connected to. What we're going to do, okay, allow me to interrupt this video for just a moment and point out a couple things. Number one, I asked you in the last video to take a guess of what that bottom plow weighed in its entirety. I weighed all the pieces and it came out to 680 pounds. 680 pounds. Now there was a very wide range of guesses, anywhere from 200 pounds to 1,200 pounds, but it was kind of in the middle there, 680 pounds. And one other thing I want to point out, as I'm making this video, today's video, the previous one is getting comments and getting views and so forth, and it appears that I misled some folks in that video, and several folks got the opinion that I was saying it would not be an issue to flatten out or straighten out the bends in the pieces of metal. That is the case with the half-inch metal. You'll see in this video where I flatten them out and use them extensively in this video. That 1.25 inch stuff, I did not intend to imply that I could straighten it out in my forge. Heck, I can't even pick that metal up. And if I was able to pick it up, it won't fit in my forge to get it hot. So I apologize if I misled any of you in saying it would not be an issue to flatten out those thick pieces. What I was talking about was a half-inch piece, and again, you'll see extensive use of those pieces in this video. Now on with the regular scheduled program. Is build a tractor hitch similar in style to this one, but it's going to be a lot more sturdy than this one is. A weak point in this one up here is these two arms or fingers sticking out for that third arm. To me, that looks like a weak point. And also down here at the bottom, you have just a single connection for the pin. Now, I could go down to Agri Supply or some of the other farm supply stores and pick up a hitch for about $75. As a matter of fact, I did. Right here it is. And let me get the camera in just a little bit tighter, and I'll show you how well it held up for the job I was doing. Granted, I was doing a whole lot more with this hitch than it was ever designed to do. I've got an implement that I was putting in here. This is a receiver hitch. I got a little implement that I built that I put in there. And as I say, this hitch was in no way designed to that. I hope you can see on the camera what happened on the arms. They are bent back probably at a 45-degree angle. It bent from up here at this brace down to here. Same thing on that side. I knew I was going to be putting a lot of stress on it. Give you an end view of just how much these are bent. Like I say, I knew I was going to be putting some extra stress on this. So before I ever put that implement in, I put this bar in. Welded it in, a good weld down here. It busted that weld from here all the way around to this corner, and from there around to that corner. And where it didn't break the weld, it actually bent the receiver up. Again, I want to say this in all frankness and honesty. I was expecting a whole lot more out of this hitch than it was ever designed to do. That's why I want to build another one today that's going to be way, I hope, way over designed even for the implement that I'm going to put in this receiver. Those arms that hook to the 3-point, to the third arm on the 3-point hitch on the tractor are a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inch flat steel, flat iron. As you recall, they had bends in them on both ends. Here's a little video clip of straightening those out. Okay, if you recall the flat bar that was used for the lift on the plow that we recycled had these bends in them, various degrees of bend. There were four of these pieces. I've straightened out the end of one end of all 4 of them, and I'll show you now the process I went through to do that. I have one of the pieces, of course, in the forge now. It's been in there for a couple minutes. Very bright sunshine today, so you may not be able to see the red hot. All right, needs a little more. What we're going to do, instead of trying to beat these out on the anvil, we're going to go into the 20-ton hydraulic press and press these out. When I carry this one in to press it, I'm going to go ahead and put another one in and let it be heating up. All right, I'm not sure there's anywhere I can aim this that you can see in the camera, but that's straight. That's straight enough. I did that flattening process on both ends of all 4 pieces. 4 pieces. So that was 8 ends I did like that. Matter of fact, I did 4 of them one day. Let everything cool down naturally. I didn't want to shock it in water or anything like that, so I let them cool down naturally, and then did the other ones the day after, the other ends the day after. One more thing we need to do to them though, the holes that are in the end of these pieces, we need them big enough for a 7/8 inch pin and a little bit of slack in there. I've already got this one drilled out. We're going to turn it over to the mill now, and the reason I'm using the mill instead of the drill press, I can get the mill down to 115 RPM. The drill press, 400 RPM is the slowest it'll go. But we're going to turn over there and drill this out with a 7/8, which is going to be just a little bit too tight. So we'll put the boring head in there and clean it up maybe another 10 thousandths or so. The next size bit I've got is a 15/16, and that's a little bit too much slack. So let's turn to the mill now and get the, I'll show you doing one end of one of these. We need 4 ends that's got a 7/8 hole in it. I have one of our pieces of flat bar mounted in the mill vise now. As you can see, I've got a machinist jack under this end down here. I've got the 7/8 bit lined up on the hole that's currently in there, and I have the DRO axis zeroed out. I have the mill in low 1, which is 115 RPM. All right, now we're going to move to the side over here a little bit. Now say that will go in now, but that's just too snug of a fit for a tractor hitch that may not always be perfectly lined up with the implement. I'll bring back to 0 on the DRO. And I already have this set to the width that I need. Like I say, about 10 thousandths on each side was all the additional space that I needed. Oh, need to lock down. I didn't get that on 0. Now we're back to 0. All right, not much was needed, but just a little clearance. All right, I'm going over to the saw now and going to saw these 4 pieces off the length, and then we'll be ready to start putting this hitch together. Okay, we got all the pieces laid out here on the welding table. As I've said before in my channel, there's no intent on trying to teach anyone how to weld on my channel, but I will try to show you the layout and some of the reasoning for why I'm choosing to do it this way. Normally on a 3-point hitch situation, you have a single pin stuck out from the end to attach to. I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to use this piece of pipe to begin with to try to hold everything in place. But what I'm going to do, instead of a single pin sticking out, I'm going to put these I'm going to put these pin pieces on the outside end, and then these in between, so that this will be similar to the newer quick hitch type 3-point hookups, but I'll have a pin that will go through. I'm just using this pipe to kind of hold everything in place while I weld it, or keep them in line. Alright, everything should be in line there. Now I'm just tacking all these pieces together at this time. Once I get everything tacked together and the whole piece together, finished, we'll sew up all the welds. Before I go any further right now, I'm going to carry just this much over to the tractor be sure I've done all my measurements properly and that this lines up with the hitch on the tractor. Alright, this piece is going to match up fine with the arms of the 3-point hitch. This upright will go in the center, but before I weld this on to the bottom bar, I want to go ahead and put a piece of flat stock on one side of this and go ahead and put the ears on as well, the pin ears. It'll actually be sitting like this. I'll have a couple of ears going in this direction. This piece of flat bar will be where a tremendous amount of the force from the implement will be applied. Not so much so if it was just being used for a trailer, to pull a trailer. I've got the bottom of this tacked, or the bottom and the top of each side tacked. I'm going to go ahead and sew up this top up here where these collar or the ears will be welded on. And I'm going to go ahead and grind that weld down flat as well. Alright, I'm just being sure I got this right in my mind. And I just like to have done it wrong. Okay folks, I apologize for the audio. I just realized a second ago that the microphone cable had come unplugged from the transmitter on cordless mic. What I was saying about these V-blocks, the 6-inch parallels that I've got, the holes in them were just perfect for the holes that I put in these V-blocks sometime back in a different video. when I made the clamp system for them. This was just the right size to want to fall into the V, and I wanted them set flat. So I got that in there holding this up. This receiver, I intentionally bought a long receiver. I want it to stick out here. Also in that lost audio, I revealed what that implement was that's going in here, that's going to put so much tension and stress on this whole setup. It's a ripper. It's something I made, I don't know, a couple months ago. Didn't do a video on it, but made it to rip up pine roots that are encroaching in the grass cutting area in the yard. It's gotten so bad that the person that was cutting my grass kept moving further and further and further from the wood line, and he would spray it. I'm going to be cutting my own grass from now on out, and I'd like to reclaim some of that yard. So some of those roots have got to go. But I've got this clamped in there, got it squared up. I'm just using this clamp. I want to get this tacked in place. Once I get that done, we've got a very stout brace that we're going to put from this plate that we welded on up here to down here. Always helps to turn the welder on. All right, I suspect that before this is finished, I'm going to put a little extra bracing under here. But for right now, we'll go back and get the rest of our bracing on the top side. I have some 45 pieces to go in here, and I would like for them to have been longer, but this was all the material I had. So I'm going to get these two mounted up in place and then bring you right back. To hold these 45 pieces in place to tack weld them, I've simply clamped a piece of flat bar at an angle across there. And since the 45s that I cut on these braces aren't exactly 45s, I'll just kind of find a medium, a happy medium in there, where the gap up here and the gap down here that I have to fill is about the same. Okay, if you happen to be one of the few that viewed that last video where I reclaimed the old bottom plow, the material out of it, you might recall seeing this material. I'm going to add a brace from here to here. This is at 1.25 inches by, what did I say, 2.5? 1.25 by 2 3/4 flat bar. I was able to cut the bevel on this end with my portaband saw, but when I laid this bevel out, has 7+ inches of saw there. Didn't have anything I really wanted to attempt that with, so I carried it over to my local machine and welding shop, asked him to torch it off. He did, and after he did, he looked at me, he said, "Lee, where did this come from?" And I told him. He said, "Well, this definitely is not mild steel." He said, "This is some good material you've got in here, good hard material." But what we've got, we're going to set this in place. That torch cut that he made up here, I ground on it a little bit and got it where it's fitting pretty good. Now, as I said, that ripper is going to be down here, and the tension is going to be pulling this way. That's why I wanted this sticking out here long, so I could put this brace up to here. Underneath here, where the other end of the hitch goes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to put some more bracing on that. Maybe even a piece of flat bar across this back. That will probably be the best situation or the best solution there is to take something like this and put on the back, tying it all the way around the hitch and up this side. Gaining weight all the time. And if you notice that little eye hook up here in the top, guess what that's for? Yep, we're gonna weigh it. So let me get this piece tacked in place. All right, I should have backed off and looked at this before I did much tacking. My OCD is just not going to allow this to live like this. It's leaned over just a little bit. So I'm going to cut a couple of welds out right there, straighten that up. Then we'll bring you back and look at that brace on the back. Okay, I got the big brace cut loose and got the tack welds cut off and re-welded in place a whole lot straighter this time. Also, what I've done up here, before I laid this flat bar up there, I went ahead and welded the receiver seam, welded it all the way across, and this one between the upright, the horizontal and vertical pieces, welded that up solid, ground them down flat. So now we've got this flat bar up here. We're going to weld that down, tack it down now, and that should again help prevent this twist from this back side. I'm sorry, it would try to twist this way. And this gives us 3 additional surfaces that are welded. All right, folks, I think all the tack welding is done. I don't see any more pieces laying on the table that I've not accounted for. So while this is up here, I'm going to go ahead and solid weld up all these seams on this plane. I'll turn it 90 degrees, do the same thing, another 90 degrees until I've gone all the way around and sewed up all the seams. I'll bring you back then. It'll likely be a couple days because once I get all this welding done, it's going to at least take overnight to cool down. And tomorrow's Sunday, so I won't be out here in the shop. But just like that, you guys will be back. And just like that, you guys are back with me. I've got this, the hitch, all the weld seams sewed up entirely, all the way around, and actually got a coat of paint on it. It's been, like I say, that was a Saturday when you were last with me, and it's Tuesday morning now. But I think she's finished. Again, what we have, these ears will be the hitch, a little different style hitch on here, and the same up here at the top. I have this piece of flat bar welded on solid all the way around that ties the receiver, the horizontal piece, the vertical piece, and the angle braces, ties all them together through one piece here. Again, this is some of that 1/2 inch thick material. Back on this side, where the force will be trying to push up this way, we have this 1¼ inch by 2½ thick steel brace pushing against this 1/2 inch plate at the top. So I'm going to let this down, put it on the tractor, and try to give you a quick demonstration of its use. I know this video is running long, but I want you to see it in operation, and I want to see it in operation. One more thing before we carry this out to and put it on the tractor. Actually, 2 more things. First one, what does it weigh? I'm not going to make you guys wait until the next video to find out, because the next video will have nothing to do with fabricating tractor implements. It's actually going to be a for real machining video. One of the reasons that I like to weigh stuff, I like to see your thoughts on it, but one of the reasons, or what got me in the habit of weighing items, is that I really sucked at guessing guessing the weight of anything. And so I started weighing a lot of stuff here in the shop just for the fun of it. And I decided on this one, I was going to make a guess myself. Now, I did not weigh any of the individual pieces at all. I did roll it over 2 or 3 times here on the welding table, welding up the various joints. But I decided I would make a guess. But I made a guess of 64 pounds. I put it on the scales, and just absolutely pure luck, my guess was within 1 pound. This weighs 65 pounds, just like it stands. Now, the second part I wanted to add on to this, here's the actual ripper that I made. I made this several months ago, or about a month ago, I guess. This is the hitch that will go in the receiver on here. This leg down here is 1 inch thick by 2 inch wide material with a blade on the bottom down here. Hopefully you can see that. Let me get it up just a little bit higher. All right. I weighed this as well, and I'd have to do some quick math in my head, but I know the 2 of them combined weighed 93 pounds. So I'm not going to pick this up and just put it on the tractor. It's going to have to be sitting on a little platform to back the tractor up to. So the total of these two was 93 pounds. All right, let's get it off the table and on the tractor. Okay, I have the ripper and the new hitch installed on the tractor now, and this is not the part of the loan that I really want to recapture, but this is over beside my tractor shelters, and as you can see, there's a few roots. There's a big one underground there. As we come on up, there's several here. So what I'm going to try to do is get the camera set in a position where maybe you can see what I'm doing here, and we'll see how well this works. It may take me a couple passes to get the depth like I want it, but let's see how this does. Right here is one of the biggest roots that will get the lawnmower now, longest ones, and this is just a whole mess of roots. Back right over here is a water line I got to be careful not to get into, but I'm pretty sure this big root right here coming from a tree over there, I'm pretty sure I cut it in two when I put the water line in, so hopefully this is just going to be a dead root laying in the ground. Alright, like I say, it's taking me a couple attempts to get the depth set. what I wanted to see. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed this build of this 3-point hitch. Tom Lipton says anything over designed never broke. So I hope this doesn't break. I've got a lot more roots around the tree lines that I'm going to try to break up today. My grandson just got his driver's license this morning, so hopefully within the next week or so he'll be needing some gas money, and I'll get him over here to pick up all these roots, use the axe if necessary, all the way around. So you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video.